Amazon, that's it. That's what I have my students do, fill me in where I miss the words. Okay, the first one I did about 2002. This is called Yosemite Photos and Poems. And I wanted to tie together photography and poetry because I love both of them. And so I did that, and it's a really short little book, but it was a huge effort to do it. And in those days you had to publish like 1,000 copies to be able to even do one. And then last semester I took an advanced creative writing class at St. Martin's, and I'm really proud of this Alpha Martin and Omega Steed book that I put out. And I'm also multi-genre. I love that word, genre. In this I include science fiction, creative nonfiction, and photography and poetry. And what I wanted to do in this book was give something to my grandkids, because I think there's some wisdom that comes with getting a little bit older. And having, I hope. So I wanted the science fiction story to really look at both beginnings and endings. And it's Alpha Martin and Omega Steed. Alpha and Omega, beginning and ending in Greek. And so Alpha, it follows the 40 weeks from conception to birth for Alpha. And for Omega, the same time, he's the grandpa of Alpha. And during the same time, his dealing with death and dying. And so for Alpha, what I wanted to explore was, what does a baby dream? What does a fetus dream? And so I have that aspect. And for Omega, I wanted to look at what would he ask Mort, the wise old owl of death? And so both of those are covered in there. And then the creative nonfiction, when I was 16, there was an old man that smiled. And I couldn't understand it, because this was the 60s and we had Vietnam going on, and the world could end any day, the nuclear stuff, and yet this old man was smiling. Well, suddenly I realized I'm the old man now. And what could I pass on to the grandkids and to our kids that I thought was some wisdom, based not only on my own experience, but on psychology. So that's the part of the creative nonfiction. It's called Paradox and Choosing. And then I have more photography and poems in there. One of the things I wanted to do this time was to read 3 or 4 poems that I've written that tie into my pictures. So this is from Mont Saint Michel in France. Anybody ever been there? Oh, it's amazing. This is my beautiful wife, Susan. Oh. We went together there, and I just happened to be wandering around. If you ever get a chance, it's absolutely amazing. But there's this cathedral on top of this huge hill, and just wandering from place to place, and I saw this nun just by accident praying. And I loved it. I loved the way the light came into it, and so I wanted to make that into a poem. So I'd like to read that for you. And in the book, I've got a much smaller picture, but I wanted you to actually be able to see it. So I have the picture on the left side and the poem on the right. I saw her praying, and sensing in an instant that sacred light and posture and place and time, I respectfully and slowly and quietly raised my camera to my eye and gently pressed the shutter release, allowing the light to reflect onto my camera sensors this mystical moment of her and God's beauty, blending, melding, meeting, commingling, communing in prayer, in a moment, sacred. I love the dazzling white light pouring through the 3 Father, Son, and Holy Ghost windows. That brilliant light reflecting on the altar, the tiled floor, her white, wimpled, coiffed head cover. I love that brilliant, loving light resting on her shoulder, leaning slightly to the left, bent in prayer. I love that subtle light and shadow on her puddled, circled robe on the floor, like rings of a pond wave moving inward. I love that holy light gently touching the red and white tiled floor and softly reflecting on those thoughtfully shaped, centuries-old columns, upholding it all. I love the tilt of her head in contemplation and prayer. I love the red-lit candle on the altar. I love that she is solitary in prayer with her God. I love the carefree and gorgeous flow and shape of her headdress as it wanders from her head to her neck and down her back. I love the flowing to the right of her white robe. I love how she kneels on that hard floor, lost to everything but God. I love how in this moment, she, I, God, that red candle, that light, that place, all of us are one in contemplation and communion. So it's for me, it's wonderful to be able to see a picture and then be able to do the words that somehow tie into it for me. So I got 3 of these and then one other poem. So that one is one of my favorites. The next one, I was really impressed when I was walking around taking pictures of trees. This looked so much like a vasectomy to me. And so in this book, I've included that. And vasectomy of a flowering phoenix rising. Okay. Paradox and pain. Who am I without my breasts? A woman? Not. Me? Not. Who am I now? Life or death? Keep my breast? The easy, smiling, soft-colored, blondish woman in the lightly red, green, and white faded loose cotton top smiled gently and moved with ease in our meditation workshop at Hollyhock. She stood out in her quiet, gentle beauty. Evening in the hot tub. Naked as we sat, as the golden sun set over the shining blue waters. Naked, she enters our waters. Flat-chested with a scar on one side and a tattoo of a pink carnation blooming on the other side. She shines with beauty. She talks of her pain, of surgery, confusion. Who was she? Was she a she? Without her breasts? She talked of her new blooming and of the flowering tattoo that was her new me. More than breasts. We are more than breasts or scars or bodies. She was the most beautiful woman I've ever met. I've got some of them that don't have pictures with them, but I just, I've always been kind of indecisive. My students love it. This is from the Yosemite book that I've got. And it's actually the actual page with the poem on the bottom. And this is dedicated to my wife, Susan. And you'll notice the 2 tall sequoia trees and the shorter fir trees. It's called Sequoia 2, Me and You. This reminds me of us at those moments, dear. You and I on the patio. Sunshine touches, cool breeze. Coffee cup warmed hands mingling. Memories, history flowing gently between us. Strong, tall, long memories, then a taste of coffee. Smells that remind, tastes that remember. Pine trees all around. Yet you and I are sequoias of time and memory, warm in the sunshine. Thank you. I've always loved Revelations 2:14. And it's funny because when I look at my own religious background, I would say I'm a Baptist, Methodist, Buddhist, Native American, as far as my religion goes. But this one's called, He Will Wipe Away Every Tear. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. That's Revelations 21:4. I want that, feel that, need that. I feel Him picking me up like a tiny, small child. My 260-pound, gray-haired, tears streaming like sheets of endless rain, nose dripping slippery, wet snot everywhere, wails like a tide of sadness convulsing me. Mom dead with her mouth open, not moving. Violent glints in mean drunks' eyes. World's mass whores without understanding. He holds me, his palm a warmth on my gray hair. My right ear hears the slow, gentle thump, thump of his heart. His other hand, a flowing, warm presence, patting, soothing. He rocks me, gently, no hurry. Lets the pain flow, lets it go. Mom's here, now smiling. Joy, peace, love and beauty everywhere. He, now smiling. Then, when the tears stop flowing, gently wipes away every tear. I'm not sure who, oh, I do know.